So we have now basically seen how you can find relative velocity and relative acceleration, right? Now let us look at distances. So how does this affect distance? So for example, if I have two objects, let us say A and let us say that I have here B. Okay. Now let us say that A was moving with some velocity and B was moving with some other velocity. So A was moving with, let us say, 3 meters per second and B was moving with 2 meters per second. And right now let's not worry about the acceleration. If the distance between them in the beginning, the distance between them, let us say, was 8 meters. The question is, when will A catch up with B? First of all, A will catch up with B, right? Because when B moves, A is basically moving at 3 meters per second, so A will catch up with B. So there comes a time when B is here and A has also reached this place, right? I want to know when will this happen. Of course, we can do this directly by saying, let this take t seconds. So that means this would be 2t meters and this would be 3t meters. And so that means the difference 3t meters minus 2t meters must be equal to t meters, that must be 8. So 8 must be equal to t. And so once you find this, you can find out where they will meet, etc., etc. So t is equal to 8 seconds. Is there another way to do this? And that's exactly what we are going to see. Let us say relative to B. So I want to make B fixed. So B's velocity is 0 meters per second. Because all this was something that a ground observer was talking. So this fellow was at rest and this fellow was saying A is moving at 3, B is moving at 2. But now if I make B at rest, relative to B, what is the velocity of A? Think about that. If I add 2, then I must add 2 to this fellow and then 3 minus 2, 1 meter per second. Right? Now A has to travel, B is not moving at all because B is at rest. So A has to travel 8 meters at a speed of 1 meter per second, therefore it has to take 8 seconds. Is that okay? Now if you look at it in this frame, because you made B at rest, it is very easy to calculate. Now you might say, well, this is equally easy, I don't have to worry about it. But if I had accelerations, then I have to think a little bit more because A also has an acceleration, B also has an acceleration. Then in terms of distances, etc., to calculate, it becomes easier to basically make B at rest. So let us look at a question where we have accelerations as well. So if I now look at this question where A has an initial velocity of 4 meters per second and an acceleration of 3 meters per second square, B has an initial velocity of 2 meters per second and acceleration of 1 meter per second square. Initially the gap between them is 8 meters. Now when B travels somewhere there, A is also going to meet B. We want to find out how long, how much time later is A going to catch up with B. We could do this problem by saying let this be t seconds like we did earlier. Then we can write down 2t plus half into 1 into t square, then 4t plus half into 3 into t square, and then we can say that minus this is equal to 8. But we can also do this by saying let us go to B's reference frame. Now B is at rest and B's acceleration is 0. So we make B the observer. So B is not going anywhere. A, now if you make B's velocity 0, you have added to this direction. So if I add 2 in that direction, which is basically minus 2, so 4 minus 2, 2. Right? So A's velocity becomes 2 meters per second. And if I make B's acceleration 0, I have added minus 1. So if I add minus 1 to this fellow, this guy's acceleration becomes 2 meters per second square. Now in t seconds, this fellow will travel ut plus half a t square, and that must be equal to 8 because this distance is 8. B is not going anywhere, so catching up just simply means a distance of 8. Now if I did this, you can see that I have t square plus 2t minus 8 is 0, right? And so you can solve the problem by saying t equals minus b plus or minus root of b square minus 4ac. So 4 into 8 is 32 by 2a. This is 36, so that gives me 6. Can't be negative, so 6 minus 2 is 4. 4 by 2 is 2 seconds. Okay, you can check. Once I put 2 seconds, you will see that this basically becomes 2 into 2, 4 plus 4, 8. So t equals 2 seconds. In 2 seconds, A catches up with B. Okay. Now after this, you can use time to calculate how far away A would have travelled, etc. Because you already solved for time, you can substitute and use that. Another very important kind of problem where this idea of displacement using relative motion comes in is particularly when you take an object and you drop the object, you throw an object, the two balls meet, you are trying to find out when do they meet, how long do they take to meet, what height do they meet, questions of that kind. So let us try to look at problem where that kind of a situation comes up. So let us look at this question. So there is one person at the top and this fellow's friend at the bottom of a building. The building height is given, it is 180 meters. So this fellow throws this ball, let me call this ball B. Let's call this ball A. Now this B is being thrown with 20 meters per second downwards, has an acceleration g which is 10 meters per second square. A has a velocity of 40 meters per second upwards and has an acceleration of 10 meters per second square. Now what we can do, we want to find the time of collision, right? So obviously B, this ball is going to come down like that, A is going to go up like that. So somewhere here they will collide. We want to know how long does it take to collide. This will be t seconds and this part will also be t seconds. We also want to know the height from the ground. So let us first focus on the time for collision. A very simple way to solve the problem is to do this relative to B. So I am going to draw B here. Now B had a velocity of how much? 20 meters per second, right? A has a velocity of 40 meters per second. If I make B's velocity 0, how do I do that? By adding 20 that way. That means I must add 20 to this fellow, so this fellow's velocity becomes 60 meters per second. Now B had an acceleration of 10, right? Now if I basically make this 10 meters per second square 0, remember A also had 10 meters per second square. So relative to B, A's acceleration becomes 0. So A has no acceleration, B has no velocity, no acceleration, 0 velocity, 0 acceleration. B does not move. A on the other hand is moving at a constant velocity of 60 meters per second. So therefore, if A has to go and hit B, B says, I am not moving, I am there. A is coming up and hitting me. This building and the ground is also going up because relative to B, everybody is going up. But we don't care about the ground, we don't care about the building. Let us focus on A. So relative to A, relative to B, A is just going up. How much distance does A have to cover? 180 meters. And what is the speed? 60. Therefore, the time that A will take to hit B is 180 by 60, which is 3 seconds. Right? So that was very easy because you found that this time is 3 seconds. What reference frame did we do this entire thing in? B's reference frame. So B is saying A is moving with uniform velocity. Right? The second part of the question. So this was done best, easiest in B's reference frame. That is relative to B. B's reference frame basically means relative to B. That was the easiest way to do this. But when you're looking at the height from the ground, you still need to worry about the ground. You can do the problem from B's reference frame, but it's a lot simpler to do it from the ground frame. And this is the usual frame, so therefore there is no big complication. So we want to find out what is this height h. So let us assume that upward direction is the positive direction. So if I know that upward is positive, then I can just directly write S is equal to ut plus half a t square. So let us write it down here. S, in this case what is S? H is equal to ut 40 into 3, 120. It is plus because it's upward direction. Don't use 60 because 60 is relative to B. I am looking relative to the ground. So 40 ut plus half into A, but remember A is downwards whereas plus is up. So that means half into A will be minus 10 into half. So minus 10 by 2, which is 5. into time square, so t square, so that is 9. So this is how much? 5 into 9, 45. So 120 minus 45 is equal to 75 meters. So these two fellows collide 75 meters above the ground. So notice what we did. We solved one part of the problem, the time calculation, we solved relative to B. So instead of doing this motion, we said let B be there and let A come and hit. So relative to B, that's what happens. You could have also done the same problem relative to A. Instead of relative to B, we could have done it relative to A. So this is one part of the problem. Then we use time for the second part of the problem. But time does not change from one reference frame to another reference frame. So if I calculated time in B's reference frame, B says it took 3 seconds for A to hit me. In the ground reference frame, B will say it took A 3 seconds to hit him, right? So whether you are talking about ground reference frame or B's reference frame, the time remains the same. Therefore, we can use time from this reference frame to solve the problem there. That is actually the best way to solve these problems, because in one reference frame, one of the calculations turns out to be easy. You should then use it in the next reference frame.